You're just in time for some big news breaking into Pigpen about football history, football future, and football past. It's all coming up in just a moment.
This is the Pigskin Daily History Dispatch, a podcast that covers the anniversaries of American football events throughout history. Your host, Darren Hayes, is podcasting from America's North Shore to bring you the memories of the gridiron, one day at a time.
Hello, my football friends. This is Darren Hayes of PigskinDispatch.com. Welcome once again to the Pigpen, your portal of positive football history. And welcome to an edition where we get to talk about some things going on, some recent news in football history that really make it kind of interesting, and actually some of them about football's future. Now, before we do that, let's make sure you check us out on YouTube channel and on your favorite podcast provider, as well as PigskinDispatch.com, where we have your podcast, and we have many items, all varieties of football at all levels. You can go to our page, PigskinDispatch.com, and you can also visit where we have our store, PigskinDispatch.com/home/store. You can see a variety of different items, including the books that we have out, our word search book that came out recently, and our books on football history, the world's greatest pro gridiron team, when Greasy met the Wonder Coach, about the 1922 Rose Bowl, and we have some other ones coming up very soon that I think you'll really enjoy, as well as a variety of coffee cups and our Let's Huddle Up series and some other items that we have on our store. So let's get into some of the news. Now, first off, we're going to talk a little bit about my Franklin book, The World's Greatest Pro Gridiron Team, in a second, because I have some news breaking on that. It was a correction in the book, something new that I learned here in the last week. But before that, let's talk about some recent things that have come out. Now, it was just came out on NBC.com, where I see that they were talking about the UFL is doing away with the onside kick. Now, we know that from the UFL, which is a combination of the XFL and the USFL, 2024 being their first year called under the banner of the UFL, being united, those two leagues, that they really started the dynamic kickoff, which the NFL has adopted. And I think they had some success under. The NFL has been talking maybe moving the kickoff line where the kicker is back to the 35, and there's some other varieties. We'll see what happens between these winter meetings that are coming up and some of the rules interpretations they'll be having very soon where they establish the new league rules. But the UFL has put another twist by doing away with the onside kick. And you may say, well, how can teams ever come back? Well, they have an option. Instead of an onside kick, they are putting the team at 4th and 12 from the 28-yard line, which makes it kind of interesting. You have to get 12 yards on a play and to keep the ball. And, I think that might be very interesting to watch the UFL as they go to do that. Of course, we have to get into a situation where you would have the need for a team to be down by a score or two and need the ball quickly, and you have to go into that onside kick situation. But we'll see what happens with that, and if maybe someday the NFL will adopt that too. Who knows? It just makes it an interesting flavor for football. But one thing that the NFL is going to do is they are no longer going to have measurements with the chains. That will not be the chains will still be on each side of the field, but they will be as a backup system because the NFL is going virtual. You will be virtually tell if the ball reached the line to gain or not. I think they're doing it both through some video and through some technology in the football with some microchips or something to see where location is. So that'll be very interesting coming up here for the 2025 season to see how they do that. But it should be more accurate and not just off the eyeballs of the officials. And, sometimes that comes out a little bit differently than we thought. Sometimes they have to bring out an index card to see if you got a first down, as Gene Steratore once did in an NFL game. But that's some interesting things coming up on the horizon. Now let's get into the history of the 1903 Franklin All-Stars, the book I wrote about for the world's greatest pro gridiron team. Now, I recently got a phone call from the Venango Historical Society in Venango County, where Franklin is in Pennsylvania, Franklin, Oil City, and Titusville, where oil was found, first commercial oil well with Drake was down there. but they don't want to only be known by the oil heritage. They want, that's, the keystone of what they do, their heritage is. They also want to embrace the football team, the Franklin 1903 team, which I'm very happy to have had a resurrection of in their minds, and let people be knowledgeable of this. But they're really embracing this, and they are trying to get they were trying to find out where the football field was. So they contacted me to see if I knew where it was. And I said, I think I know where it is. And I put in the book, I had a map in there, and it's early on in the book, and I thought it was in one end of town. So they said, okay, if you could send us your details on that, because we want to definitively know where it is and have the proof. And I said, sure. So I went to work looking and going through my old research from a couple years ago when I did that, and I couldn't find it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I know where I have it in the book, and I said it's probably here, or suggested it's probably here. I was speculating a little bit. So I went through some old manuals that I had, and I found exactly where it is. And it's actually the other end of town, but I know the exact street corner, the exact location, how large it was, who they bought the field from, and everything, just through a little bit of extra research to update some things that I had in the book and the history of that 1903 team. So that was pretty exciting to me, and maybe there'll be some historical markers put on that site that people can go and enjoy here in the future, and that'd be pretty cool too, to recognize the team. So that's what we have it going up on football. We appreciate you coming and watching us today. Don't forget, in 2 days, Monday, March 3rd, we are going to be kicking off the NFL pre-Super Bowl championships. The games, the teams, and the seasons that were, and the first one is a doozy. It's 1933. You see, we've been building up to it the last couple weeks with going through 1920 through 1932, the seasons before championship games, and now we're really going to get in the meat of it and having guests galore coming on here, big time experts on history of football. Kicking off is Chicago legend Joe Ziemba, who's wrote multiple books on Chicago Cardinals and Chicago Bears history, as well as other teams around Chicago. It is going to be phenomenal, and I think you're really going to enjoy it. You're going to learn a lot from a great storyteller and a great historian in Joe Ziemba, and we're going to go on and on with more guests all the way up to 1965, the last year before the Super Bowl came in, and I think you're going to enjoy that. So be ready every Monday, and we might even have a couple a week coming up. So Mondays and Thursdays are the days to look for those, as well as our regular programming with Timothy B. Brown at footballarchaeology.com, and our infographics, getting into some college football Hall of Famers and everything. And you can always go back to our daily history by going on the front page of pigskindispatch.com and checking out some of our old podcasts. The football history of each day, which is really very fascinating. Every day of the year, we have football history, and you can enjoy that on those older podcasts. Till next time, everybody, have a great Gridiron Day.
That's all the football history we have today, folks. Join us back tomorrow for more of your football history. We invite you to check out our website, pigskindispatch.com, not only to see the daily football history, but to experience positive football with our many articles on the good people of the game, as well as our own football comic strip, Cleat Marks Comics. Pigskindispatch.com is also on social media outlets, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and don't forget the Pigskin Dispatch YouTube channel to get all of your positive football news and history. Special thanks to the talents of Mike and Gene Monroe, as well as Jason Neff, for letting us use their music during our podcast.
This podcast is part of the Sports History Network, your headquarters for the yesteryear of your favorite sport. You can learn more at sportshistorynetwork.com.